Hello, I'm One of These Days Football, and this is our A-League tips video for the 23-24 season. This is the Game Week 4 tips. I know we played the game last night. We played the game last night between Victory and Wellington, and we have three games today and 2 games on Sunday. So obviously we do know the result of the Wellington Victory score, but I did submit these tips before that happened. So anyway, let's just jump into it. A bit with how I'm going to go through scoring is I'm trying to have a scoring system so that I can keep myself accountable week to week. So if I get above 3 out of 6, I count that as a win. Anything below that, I'm going to count that as a loss, just to keep it easy for my first season doing this. So previous to this week, I was 7 out of 12 tips correct, and then this week I'm 8 out of 18, meaning I only got 1 tip right last week. So we dropped dramatically, I think, from like 17th overall to 210th, or equal 210th, well, excuse me. And the first loss that we've taken, not a very good week for me. Lots of things I just didn't foresee coming. I think I was a bit aggressive in some games where I probably should have been a bit more generous. It's still early in the season, and I think that a lot of upsets are still happening. And I got very lucky in the first 2 game weeks. So I think that luck kind of equalised in the 3rd game week. We'll see how we go now. Again, hopefully as the game weeks go on, the tipping actually gets easier because things become more accessible, more easy to predict because of previous results and previous games that we've seen, see how teams play and can possibly match up. So, our Game Week 3 review. The only game I got right last week was City-Sydney. And I predicted that new manager bounce, and then of course Sydney have fired their manager, so maybe we'll see another new manager bounce win this week. But that City-Sydney game, I think I said City would win by a goal as well, so I didn't even get the bonus point there. They ended up winning 2-0. Wellington-Brisbane, I don't think I would have been in the minority tipping Brisbane to win, but Wellington have yet again done it at home, scoring a whole 5 goals on Brisbane. Macarthur-Western, I tipped a draw. Very tight win to Macarthur in 1-0. Look, I think a draw could have definitely happened, but such is life. Can't get them all right. I tipped Adelaide United to win that game in the original rivalry clash. Very fiery game. Obviously, red card for both teams. I think maybe Victory winning that would have been the correct tip, as it turns out. Or might have been correct based on how the game flew out, but I also could have seen United winning it late. Yeah, a draw probably fair enough. Probably should have tipped a draw now that I think about it further. Perth and the Mariners, I did tip a draw because I thought Mariners were the better team, but Perth obviously have quite a big home advantage. But the Mariners, after 3 games, are looking absolutely dreadful. Perth, again, a team I think will grow throughout the season. Maybe won't start off on fire, but they're doing pretty well. But will grow and continue to get better. And that Newcastle Jets Western Sydney Wanderers game, I think maybe I overvalued Western Sydney or undervalued the Jets. I don't know. The Jets did score 2 goals, which I just didn't really see coming. Obviously, they were 2-0 up as well, so I just didn't see the Jets doing what they did. I still think Western Sydney really need to be aiming to win those games to be where they want to be on the table, while the Jets, I just don't see them as a strong team yet. Hopefully, maybe they change my mind and we can see something happen throughout the season. Anyway, that's our little review. I think probably there's more for me to personally take away from this than others, because obviously I'm the one doing this. So, anyway, moving on to our Game Week 4 submissions. We all know how Victory Wellington went. Victory had like 18 shots. Wellington had 0 on target, 0 off target. And of course, it was a 1-1 draw. And guess what? For no abhorrent reason other than I thought the Knicks would snag an absolutely crap goal, I picked a draw. I don't think many people will pick that. I got very, very lucky there to get that right. But back to winning ways for the tips is really, really good. Feels good to get that one right. I did bring Fornaroli in for fantasy, which I'm actually going to do the fantasy video tomorrow on Sunday because I made some massive calls really early just before this Wellington victory game on how I want to get more points. I'll show you what I did tomorrow morning, but I transferred out Kraev and put in Fornaroli, who obviously didn't work out fantastically, but I think in the future that will be a good move. I'll talk about it more in the fantasy video, but yeah, on that game, I think Victory probably should feel pretty robbed not to get 3 points there, but Wellington show again that they can hold on and they can defend, and that's what they've been doing, and they're equal top of the table by defending. So they also scored 4 goals against Brisbane. So we'll see how we go. Wellington obviously now have, including the game they just played, a run of 3 games not in New Zealand. So I think this will be a real stretch, real pressure for the Knicks to see how they can actually go. Hopefully for them they don't pick up any injuries as their squad doesn't look as deep as others, with a lot of just young talent on the bench. I think if the Knicks can hold on, maybe this could be a really good season for Giancarlo Italiano and the Knicks. Western United, Newcastle, Jets. I have picked, again, I'm saying that Newcastle are not very good. I've picked a Western United win. I think Western United will sit in that 4-4-2, probably be a bit harder to break down. Maybe the Jets will struggle to score this week, finally, hopefully. Scoring 5 goals in the last 2 games is not something I expected from the Jets. Hopefully, Western United can keep it clean at the back and then find a way to punch them, maybe on a counter-attack. Anyway, that's how I see that game playing out. Western Sydney versus Perth. In Sydney, we've got Western Sydney winning that game. Again, I think Perth will be a team that will get better and better, but maybe might regress a little bit compared to their last week's result. And I just think Western Sydney need to bounce back. I think it being in Sydney is a big thing for this game. Early in the season, if this is in Perth, I might even have Perth winning. But right now, I'm not super confident on all the teams, and I think that home ground advantage for the Wanderers will make a big difference, especially considering the other team is Perth. Now, Sydney versus Adelaide United in Adelaide on Saturday night tonight. Will the new manager bounce occur again? I don't think Sydney will change too much. I think they'll probably run pretty similar to how they were running. But I'm just wondering if they can get it together, get that new manager bounce, get that new energy, and finally get a result, or if Adelaide's strong start to the season will continue. Obviously, missing Aaron Kunda is a big out for Adelaide United. As for any team in the A-League, it would be for any team in the A-League. But I've gone a bit rogue here again and predicted United to win. Going against the new manager bounce theory, even with world-class wingers, I think that Sydney might struggle because I don't think enough will change. I think it'll kind of stay in the rhythm. And I think Sydney might have to find something new to do after this game week. They do have the international break next week, so hopefully they can use that 2-week period just to find themselves and maybe find something a bit fresher, because I think it's going to be too similar, and maybe that's part of the problem. But you never know. Maybe new messaging can get them across the line. Melbourne City MacArthur in Melbourne. I'm going to go back to Melbourne City being Melbourne City and just winning almost every game that's in front of them. MacArthur look okay. Melbourne City are Melbourne City. And finally, the Mariners versus the Roar. I think the Mariners are hot garbage, and therefore the Roar will win. So there you have it. The Mariners looking like garbage. Everyone else looks actually okay, really good, really interesting. But other than that, I'll be one of these days football. They're my rough tips for this week. Hopefully I get more than one. I'm already on the right track. I just need one more of the next 5, and I'll get better than our game week 3 score. Have a lovely rest of your weekend. Enjoy the A-League, and we'll talk again next week. Or actually, tomorrow. I'll release a Fantasy A-League video tomorrow on some brave and bold moves that I've done for today's games. Thanks again. Bye.